In this lesson, we'll begin animating our character. We'll be working on a run cycle animation for the character to start out. So, let's go ahead and prepare the scene. Just to note, I like to turn off joints, IK handles, as well as the deformers, especially because we were working with clusters for the spine. So we don't want to accidentally select and key over them. So we'll just go ahead and turn off deformers as well. Also to note, in the character, right at the center, remember we were working with a spline curve for the spine, so that's going to be visible, and we want to actually hide that so we don't accidentally animate on top of that as well. So let's make sure that that's hidden. Now we are ready to begin. So first off, let's say we go to our preferences under Window, Settings and Preferences. Once we're there, we'll go to our Settings category, and let's even change our or restore to our default settings and work our way down. For this animation, we can go ahead and use 24 frames per second. That'll work fine for us. For animation, we can have this set to flat. We'll start with flat for this. I like to use flat because it's great for working with or quickly adding things like ease outs and ins, as well as moving holds. So we can start with flat. For the timeline, that's going to be real time 24 frames per second. So we'll make sure we set that and just hit save. Alrighty, so with this, from here, let's go to our character key set, the top one, so we can access all of our attributes, not just the upper body or lower. And then on frame 1, we'll go ahead and press S to set our first key. Now, being that we're going to work with a cycle animation, what we want to do, or what I like to do, is actually work with odd numbers of frames. So in this case, okay, being that it is a run cycle, okay, and the timing is going to be a little bit quick, but not too fast because of the weight of this character, I think we would be just fine using a frame count of 1 to 23. So we'll set our animation playback or end time to 23. So we're going from 1 to 23, and midpoint between these frames is frame 12. So the midpoint is going to help us to achieve a seamless cycle. And we do have training that does complement animation topics, as far as even getting more in depth with them in our body mechanics series, push and pull, as well as lifting heavy objects. And we even do have walk cycle training if you'd like to really delve into understanding techniques. But we're just really going to put this all together, not spending too much time on it at all, just to give you an idea of where you can take the character in the animation pipeline. Alrighty, so to start out on frame 1, let's go there, and we'll also turn on auto key. I like to work with auto key because that speeds up the keying process, but you just want to be mindful of when it is on or off, okay? Because otherwise, if you don't know it's on and you're posing out your character just to test out poses, you might set keys that you don't want. So just be a little bit more responsible with auto key turned on. Alrighty. And then finally, going to our move tool, I'm actually using local mode for the move tool. And then for the rotate tool, if we hit E, I'm also using local mode for that. To get to these options, you would just simply hold down the hotkey for the manipulator, hold down the left mouse button, and you'll get to those options very quickly. Okay. For the rotate tool, we might even switch between global and local. And then for, again, the move tool, same thing. Just hold down the W key and you can switch to any number here. And we'll just use local. Alright, so let's begin. So on frame 1, we'll start out our initial contact pose of the character. Remember, keep in mind the character's build. Okay, he's got these heavy boots and he doesn't really have a foot roll or heel roll or anything of that nature. Okay, that's why we didn't add that on him. Okay, so we want to keep that in mind. Keep in mind the weight. Also keep in mind his personality. It looks a little bit intimidating, so we want to make sure that our run is going to reflect that. So we'll just bring him down some. We can go to his left foot, again on frame 1, and just bring that forward. For the right foot, we can start bringing that back. And being that we're just posing out these initial poses, another thing I like to do is cancel out temporarily the X direction, and we can do that by holding Control and left clicking the direction we'd like to limit. So right now we're just moving in the Y and Z. Alright, so for this right foot, we can go ahead and start bringing that forward and then rotating it down in the X. Let's see, possibly even bringing this back a little bit more. So it's just coming up. You're not really going to get a toe roll here, but the leg is actually going to lift up as the character is going into this, coming from the contact position, again because of the design of the boots. And then we can go to the hip, go to the rotate Y and rotate that out. Rotate it so that it's following with the legs properly. We won't worry about the upper body just yet, just focusing on the lower portion, getting that down before we move on to the other tasks. Okay, great. So the legs are coming together. Alrighty. Okay, so with this now done, what we can do is take these values that we have for our left and right side and make sure we go to our midpoint and basically flip our values around here. Okay, so on frame 1, going to our left foot, we can see that we've moved the foot up to about 30.35. We could just copy that value. We don't really want to use whole numbers at all. We want to use the values that are going to give us the correct poses. So we want to be mindful of that. So we'll just copy this value, select the right foot, go to frame 12, paste the value in, hit enter, and zero out everything else, being that the left foot also had everything zeroed out on frame 1. Okay, so here's what we have. And now we'll do the reverse for the other side. Okay, we can copy the translate Y here, go to frame 12, go to our left foot, paste. Okay, and notice auto key with that being on, that really speeds up the keying process again. Going back to our right foot, we can now copy the Z translation, copy that value, go to frame 12, go to that left foot now and paste in the Z. And then that brings us to the last attribute that we've animated for the right foot. So we'll go to frame 12 and paste. So here's what we have initially. We have our feet flipping or switching already. Great. So from here, once we like this, what we can do is go to frame 1 and simply middle click on frame 23. Notice how the animation did not update at all. Middle clicking is a very powerful tool on the timeline because you can get great things as far as copying and pasting values or even adding moving holds. So basically what we've done, going from frame 1, middle clicking on frame 23, we've basically locked in or maintained this pose that we have on frame 1. So now what we could do is simply go ahead and press the S key so we can set a key on our character set, our top node, making sure that that's still activated. And here's what we have. Great. So if we were to scrub through this, we could see that it's really coming together already. What we'll go ahead and do though is stop the lesson, and in the next lesson continue this process of animating our run cycle.